some really valuable tips that you can immediately take back to the salon and use, as I say, use it immediately as we're coming through. So that's going to giving us this kind of cool effect through here. So I'm going to continue over directing the hair forwards. I did go in and just some more breaking into the hair and just kind of like playing around with it so that it just looks really very, very, very cute. So I hope you like this look. Good morning. A little preview from Viv Unplugged. And for those of you who are not familiar with it, go to my website, or I'm going to have a friend put in a link to Viv Unplugged in the comments, and you can go there. And we are going to let me just go to my comments. We're going to actually be giving our friends here on Facebook who've been loyally following me for years and years and years access to Viv Unplugged. So if you are interested in having access to this event, let us know in the comments below. Just put, please sign me up for Viv Unplugged, and we'll be going through the comments and we will be able to email you a link. So just communicate with us through the chat, and we would love to do that. So good morning, Ruben. Aaron, good morning, Rosemary. Thank you for joining us today. So that little clip was from Viv Unplugged. Every week we do a new video in cut, color, perm technology, styling and finishing, and we always have a Q&A once a month so that we can have a lovely chat. So good morning, Liz. Liz, good morning. So today, I wanted to talk to you about reinventing yourself and the challenges that we have when we look at what works, the habits that we repeat, which are, in the recent studies, they said 90% of what we do is repetitive habits every single day. So that the way we live our lives is just repeated day after day after day, which is why when we know someone well, we can predict what they're going to do. And when we look at our receptionists there, when they see guests coming in, they know, very predictable, oh, that one's going to Susie, that one's going to Jane. They are very predictable. So the predictability is good, but sometimes it gets old. How many of you would agree with that? Sometimes it gets a little boring. So one of the things that I do is that when I'm listening to things that are inspirational, if I'm listening to an ebook, or I'm listening to anything that inspires me, or reading anything that's inspiring, I have my little index card here, my little index thing. And I find it a really great way of just writing a quick note that just like, wow, I must remember that. And it's easy for me to carry around. It doesn't get too beaten up. I used to do Post-it notes. And that wasn't working because it was all about, how do I learn more? How do I do things better? I'm in a constant state of never-ending improvement. That's my goal, which, trust me, guys, as you get older, it gets a little hard. So I figured out that I'm going to just start journaling. Journaling is very powerful because it's starting at that connection. Writing connects the thinking. So when you hear, it can go in and out. When you watch any of these videos, and there's so many to watch, it can go in and out. And it's almost, this is what life is like. It's almost like we're on this merry-go-round and it's going so fast that we see things, but nothing sticks. Nothing has impact because we don't slow down to absorb it, to think about it, to reflect, to say what if, etc., etc. So I encourage you to go and get yourself one of these little books and start journaling on anything that inspires you, because you can bring it to your attention. And neuroscience always says that what you focus on expands. And so when you focus on, for example, razor cutting. I started off today's presentation by just showing a little tiny clip of razor cutting. And for those of you who are really scared of the razor, don't be scared of it. it's no more dangerous than holding scissors in your hand. It's just about learning the right way and understanding the why and understanding the elegance and the beauty of the art form. It's not about ripping and tearing and shredding into the hair. It's really beautiful and refined. I do precision haircuts, like classic precision haircuts with a razor, and I do things that are very abstract. So I have to tell you what I wrote down the other day. It says here on here, it says, if I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm in the wrong room. I'm alone right now, so that's really scary. Actually, I've got some mannequin heads over there, but that's really scary. But you know what? That's so true. When I started off in this industry, I was so lacking in confidence. And I remember the first day I walked into Sassoon's to start my training as a junior. I was on the most prestigious street in London, Bond Street. Next door to us was Gucci. There were 70 people employed in this salon, had 3 tiers to it. And I was the most ignorant out of anyone in the company. It was my first day. I was meant to be like that, right? But I opened that door to an opportunity and a new life, and I was terrified. And I remember as the door closed behind me, I had this sinking feeling of fear and anxiety, thinking, oh my gosh, I feel so vulnerable and so scared, and I just want to run home to my mum. I was young. And in truth, yeah, I was the dumbest person in the room, and I was around brilliance. And even though I was so young, I was smart enough to realize, wow, some of this has to rub off, because as we all know, human behavior is contagious, isn't it? And if you look at the 5 most important people in your life, or the 5 people that you're around every single day, whether you like it or not, they're rubbing off on you in a good way or a bad way, right? So I think it's really important to be around people that inspire you. Now, for how many of you here today that are independents? Hi, Stephen. Hi, Erin. Hi, Jill. Great to see you back here again. Jill's a wonderful hairdresser. Rosemary, Ruben. How many of you are independents? Because if you're independent, you have such a huge mantle of responsibility, and you have to be able to multitask and do so many things so well. So I have incredible respect for any of you who are independent. When you're independent, you have to seek outside of your space for inspiration, and you've got to bring it in. So you have to have intention around, I'm looking to be guided and to be mentored. And you also have to be able to say to yourself, I need to make a real investment in me, because if I don't invest in me, I can't give what I don't have, right? If it's not there, you can't give it. And a client's always taking something. They're always sucking something out of us. And ideally, a great hairdresser is somebody that educates the client, inspires their client with ideas, has a vision for the client. And, you know, the difference between goals and visions is that when you act on the goal, you get there. But you can have a vision with no plan, and it just ends up being some dream, right? So we always have to have a plan. We always have to make decisions every single half an hour or hour making decisions, right? And so it's draining because your brain's going constantly, right? So I think it's really important to seek that inspiration. And I was saying on Instagram earlier that I came up with this amazing fact in doing my research, that how many of you like to drink coffee? You like drinking coffee? Apparently, the average cup of coffee in the United States is $3. I don't remember the last time I spent $3 on a cup of coffee. It's always like $6 or $7 or $8. I'm obviously going to completely the wrong place, but bear with me here. 1 cup of coffee, the average is $3, right? So per month, if you have a cup of coffee every day, that's $91. And for the year, guess what that amounts to being? $1,080 just in coffee. So think about if you refrained from going out and drinking coffee. Think about if you just had your coffee at home and you were just not going down to Starbucks every day or whatever, and you diverted that money to invest in you. It's a concept, isn't it? Think of what you could do with $1,000 just in education, right? You could spend it with me. But it's a point, isn't it? It's the compound effect. So just as that compounded from $3 to 1,000 over a year, the right kind of information compounds and you can do something with it, which I think is pretty amazing. So today I'm really excited. I've been working on this webinar for quite some time and I hope you can join me. The webinar is this afternoon at 4 o'clock. And if Rosemary or Cindy could put the link in the chat, that would be amazing. Otherwise, you just need to go to the link on my Instagram page, right up at the top of my Instagram page is the link. Obviously you can't read it, but it's right there at the top. So you can go to Vivian McKinder, you go to the link, and from there you can immediately register for this afternoon. It has limited places available, but do join me. I'm going to be talking about how I went from being so scared and nervous to having more confidence. You notice I didn't say being confident, I have just said more, but still could be a whole lot better. And the journey of how when I look at someone, how I see them, how I come up with my ideas, how I communicate my ideas through, how I create beauty that's appropriate to who's wearing it, and how I've increased my value. When I was at Sassoon's, I was, as I mentioned before, at a very, very expensive part of London. And I remember one day I walked down at lunchtime and I stood outside this really fancy store and they had this beautiful jacket in the window and it was a crazy amount of money. I mean, it was like two months' salary. And I used to go there when I get my lunch and I would stand outside the window and I just look at it for as many days as it was in the window. And I never had the confidence to go inside because I thought they're going to look at me, and I don't dress fancy like that. I dress more simple because that's all I could afford because I was still a student. I was still training. But I thought, well, one day I'd really love to have that jacket. And I still would walk by and I just stand outside the window and go, oh gosh, if only I could have it. But I was thinking, God, but that's 2 months' salary. And so I went home to my mom and I said, could I have an early Christmas present? But it was the summertime. She said, darling, it's a little early for a Christmas present. Anyway, eventually it went on sale. And it was still a ridiculous amount of money because I think that ended up being one month's salary. But I bought it. But the funny thing is, not only did I buy it, but it was 2 sizes too large for me, but I didn't care. I had these huge shoulders. And so I got my hair permed so that my head wouldn't look so small with these huge shoulders. But I felt fabulous. I looked ridiculous, but it was the first time I bought Yohji Yamamoto, which at that time was a big Japanese designer, asymmetric thing, and I just felt the business. But that day I had this epiphany and I thought, if what I'm making now, if I could make, instead of in a month, I could make it in a week, is that possible? And it became possible. Then I said to myself, what I make in a week, could I make that in a day? Then I made that possible. And then I thought, well, what I make in a day, can I now make that in an hour? And I made that possible. But it started off from having nothing. And on Viv Unplugged, today we launched the color that Mark Milletti did, which is absolutely fantastic, right? And when we were looking at this little mannequin head, she went on a journey from a haircut by myself to a beautiful perm with Janine Jarmon with Curl Cult. And then she had her hair colored by Mark Milletti, a New York-based hair colorist. Amazing, amazing. So we tallied up between us if we were all workers. Janine works in Los Angeles, Mark is in New York, I'm in New York. So we tallied up what that service would have cost the client. Now bear in mind, wash and wear shag with a beautiful, relaxed texture, gorgeous condition, a lovely perm and color that's totally appropriate to the haircut. We worked out it would have been over $1,000. We'd been $1,200. Easy wash, wear, amazing, amazing, amazing look. So think about clients who are overwhelmed, clients that they love how you do their hair, but it never looks the same when they go home. Clients where their hair collapses and drops the moment they leave the salon because of the environment. Clients that, as I said, are stressed, overwhelmed, and they want their life simpler. And they would like to have something that's wash, wear, go, that has at least 3 months, maybe 4 months longevity. How would you sell through that high ticket? Because if you focus on the money, she's never going to buy. But if you focus on the lifestyle change, and you focus on the value, and you focus on the look, and you believe in what you're doing so much, then you're opening that door of opportunity. Clients never say no because of the price. It's because they don't understand the value. And you're always solving a problem. And if you speak the language that they understand, and you speak to them in that right framework, it's amazing what you can do. I understand it's demographics of where you live. It's all in relationship, isn't it? But it gets you thinking, doesn't it? So my webinar this afternoon at 4 o'clock is going to actually go over that. And I think you'll find it really interesting. So it's a free webinar. So I encourage you to sign up. And are there any questions that I should look at? We've got Mark here. Oh, from Edmonton. Lovely, Mark. Thank you for being with us. Oh, he registered already. Thank you. Great. And there's the link there. Thank you for putting that in. And Cindy, yep. Is there anything else I can say hi to? Let me just say, Kristen. If you're an independent, Kristen, okay. And this is what you need today. You know, I think it's so important. You have to, with intention, look for things to inspire you. I work with some of the most creative geniuses in the world. And when you're around giants, you feel quite small. And I started off this presentation talking about my little notebook and says, if I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm in the wrong room. I'm so happy that I made the decisions I made in my career to be around giants who taught me. What it meant was to be really, really open and to be receptive. And I know some of you here have been in the business a long time. So it's being open to the youth and understanding how the youth see things and just being, wow, isn't that cool? And learning from the youngsters is fantastic. And then for the youngsters to learn from the years of experience of saying, well, you know, I remember this the first time and this is how we could do it differently this time, whatever. But I think it's wonderful. When you look at generational differences, the media always talks about segregation. And I think it's about embracing. It's about embracing our differences. And I think great relationships, you meet where you understand. You meet at that point of connection, right? And from there, off you jolly well go. So I'm always open to learn, and I'm always looking to learn from everybody and anybody on the path. And I think that's really important. I'm going to see if there's one more crazy thing I can share with you. This is a new book, so it doesn't have as much in it. Let's see what else I have. This is a good one. Don't play tennis with your problems. That's a good one, isn't it? Making them go backwards and forwards. That's a good one. Frustration is part of learning. It's a byproduct, and it is positive. So when you're struggling with a certain technique and it's just like, this is not working, I'm saying to everybody, in my training, it was always such a big deal to learn how to set hair with rollers, whether they be Velcro or hot rollers, to do all of your iron work, be able to do pin curl sets, because there's always dexterity skills. If you can do that, then when you do other things, it helps with your dexterity skills and how you're not just this mechanic just doing this dexterity skill all the time, just to pull down. So these dexterity skills of giving and pushing and twisting and so on are really important. It comes from the setting world. And in my training, it was always important to learn how to set hair and style hair before we ever cut hair. So now when you're looking at this new surgence of perming that's going to happen, you've got to be able to roll around bendies, roll around a pin curl, because this new technology is totally different to anything you've ever seen. And as I mentioned, it's on Viv Unplugged, you can check it out. So it's a whole different world. So we're going to see people really frustrated because their rolling speed is slow. But if you wanted to be able to do this look that I'm wearing, like with this sort of relaxed, lazy curl, you may do it on a bendy, or you may do it with really large pin curls or barrel curls. You may not use traditional perm rods. So those dexterity skills are important. So frustration will be a big thing. One other thing, often we become more coachable as we go through more failure. That was obviously a really good day, huh? But anyway, that's my little thing for you. I'm not going to go any further. I'm going to send you lots of love. I have to get myself ready for my big event, right? Woohoo! So join me at 4 o'clock today, Eastern Standard Time. We go live, and it's a one-time thing, and then it goes. So join us, because I expire after I've inspired. Lots of love to you. Thank you so much for being with us, and we will see you next week, bright and early. Take care and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Don't forget to share this with your friends, right? Share it so that we can spread the love. Lots of love to you all. Bye-bye.